Now going from Hazard High School in Kentucky and then over to Virginia. So Terry McAuliffe apparently is trying to run again for Virginia governor. Now, if you don't know who Terry McAuliffe is, all you have to know is he's basically a puppet for the Clintons, a puppet for the Democrats, a puppet for the liberal socialist douchebags. I think he's going to win Virginia just because Virginia went red to blue like that. And that's just the way it's going to be. Northern Virginia runs all of Virginia. So Western Virginia, out in the rural parts, next to, close to West Virginia, close to and even Southwest and near North Carolina, where all the farms are, rural areas, they're not, even though they vote against this crap. Well, if you know anything about the demographics of Virginia, Northern Virginia is just flat out, it's basically North Korea. That's where Loudoun County is. So Team McAuliffe emails reveal effort to kill this Fox News story. Now there was a poll that came out that after the potato went to campaign for this scumbag right here, he's in the water 8 points against Glenn Youngkin. I want Glenn Youngkin to win. I don't really know much about Glenn Youngkin other than he's a Republican, and at this point, having a brown bag with an R next to his name is better than this clown right here. So again, I used to own a house in Virginia. I sold it for this particular instance right here because of Blackface Northam running that place. I'll never go back to Virginia to live. There's just no way in hell. I don't care what kind of job I get. Never going back. So one of his spokespersons wrote this in an email to Fox News. Can we try to kill this? Kill what, you ask? Here we go. Less than a month before the election day, McAuliffe's campaign spent $53,680 on services of the Elias Law Group. Who's that, by the way? For a firm that Mark Elias started earlier this year, Fox News reported. So, Fox News reached out to McAuliffe campaign for comment. McAuliffe spokesperson Christina Freundlich, responded in an email with a message apparently meant for colleagues, not for Fox News. Can we try to kill this? Kill what, you may ask? Well, here's the original email. See, can we try to kill this? This is Tyler O'Neill at Fox News. I'm writing a story about the report of McAuliffe hired Mark Elias potentially to challenge the election results. Oh, the election hasn't even been conducted yet, not until next week. Would the campaign explain the purpose of hiring? Would the campaign counter Jonathan Turley's suggestion that McAuliffe may be planning to contest the election? So let's ask a correct question here. Why would the McAuliffe campaign, if they fully think that they're going to win this Virginia election, complete 100% across the board, why do you think they would hire Mark Elias, who's, I guess, from what I understand, is an election, lawyer? So why would he hire this person and his law group? Knowing, let's just say he thinks he's going to win. Why would you hire this guy? Why would you spend boatloads of campaign money? Because you're covering your bases. Even though you think you're going to win, you see the polls, you're basically neck and neck, statistical tie. So you're hoping that Northern Virginia comes out and votes. But there's those pesky Western Virginians and Southwest Virginians and Southeastern Virginians who aren't on board with this at all for Terry McAuliffe. Terry McAuliffe's a douchebag, all right? Flat out. So you hire this guy because in case shit goes down, you want to be ready when the shit goes down. That's just how you conduct a campaign apparently now. So when you say, can we try to kill this? Christina, kill what? They know that their goose is cooked. Again, I still think he's going to win, but I don't think it's going to be really close. But you wouldn't hire this guy and then say, can we try to kill this story somehow? How are you going to try to kill it? You can't. And then you done fucked up by putting this out there. Do you guys not know how email works? I mean, even if you wanted this to come out this way, you wouldn't have said, can we try to kill this? Kill what? How dare you try to kill somebody? Murderers. So, to dispute the challenge of the election, she clarified ostensibly responding to an email that did not go through to Fox News. The McAuliffe campaign did not give any response to Fox News on the record. Key point, on the record. There's something that was said probably off the record. Elias had formerly worked as a partner at law firm Perkins Coie, which the Hillary Clinton campaign hired in 2016 in order to conduct opposition research on Orange Man Rad, Donald Trump. Research that included the infamous Christopher Steele dossier. Oh. Huh. Imagine if there was another Christopher Steele dossier coming out on Glenn Youngkin. That would be interesting. Which it hasn't happened. Interesting. Elias represented the Democrats in efforts to contest elections going into the 2020 election. He represented Democrats challenging a Texas law barring straight ticket voting. Yeah. That's stupid. You need to go down the list and check off and be responsible for your vote and check off every Democrat vote you do, you douche fuck. How dare you? House Republicans accused Elias of having a serious conflict of interest when he represented Iowa Democrat candidate Rita Hart in her effort to overturn the results of her extremely narrow loss to Republican Representative Marinette Miller Meeks. If you remember that story correctly, Marinette Miller Meeks won that race by like 6 votes. And Nancy Piss Pants Pelosi tried to say, nah, we're just going to deem that our Democrat candidate won and the Republican lost. And they're like, no, you can't do that, you dumb bitch. You can't do it. GOP House Administration Committee said the Elias had a conflict because he and Perkins Coie were still where he still worked at the time, also represented half the Democratic committee members who would be deciding the case. George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley wrote that McAuliffe hiring Elias is an astonishing move. I agree. There is a host of election lawyers, but McAuliffe selected an attorney accused of lying to the media. Well, the media lies to us, so who gives a shit? Advancing rejected conspiracy theories, and currently involved in a major federal investigation has already led to an indictment of his former partner, Turley wrote. McAuliffe may be preparing to challenge any win by Republican Glenn Youngkin. Let's hope there, folks. Both McAuliffe and his Republican opponent, Glenn Youngkin, have pledged to absolutely accept the results of the election. Yet Turley raised concerns because McAuliffe has embraced Stacey Abrams' claims about the 2018 gubernatorial race. I'm no fan of Brian Kemp. However, given a choice between Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams, I'm going to take Brian Kemp over Stacey Abrams all day long, 100% across the board. There's no doubt. Now, there are some people coming up through the ranks here for the Georgia election who I'd much rather have other than Brian Kemp. But, what are you going to do? Again, I'll take Brian Kemp over a D. It just doesn't matter. I mean, he's done an okay job. It's just that he sort of capitulated and, waffled during the 2020 election. Anywho, here's what he said about Stacey Abrams. This is Terry McAuliffe. She would be the governor of Georgia today. Had the governor of Georgia no, he did not. Brian Kemp did not do that. Disadvantage for Georgia voters in the election. That's what happened to Stacey Abrams. They took the votes away. They didn't take any votes away. There's no evidence to suggest that claim. McAuliffe had previously nodded along as Abrams repeated that some have described as her big lie about the 2018 election. Fact checkers with PolitiFact and USA Today found no proof and little empirical evidence that Brian Kemp, who served as Georgia's Secretary of State while running against Abrams, stole the election. They've already proven the fact that there was no disenfranchisement. The vote was ironically above board in Georgia, but 2 years later it got all fucked up. Interesting. A Youngkin campaign spokesman responded to McAuliffe's remarks by suggesting that the Democrat may not accept the elections of the results of the election. No, he probably won't. McAuliffe's continued claims that multiple elections were stolen raised serious doubts about whether he will accept his own impending defeat and concede when he loses to Glenn Youngkin. Recent news or events suggest that McAuliffe campaign is struggling. The Democrat drew tiny crowds to recent campaign events, despite bringing in the big guns of the Democratic Party to help, including President Potato Extraordinaire, former President Barack Hussein Obama and Vice President Camel Toe, never mind. Anyways, and Stacey Abrams. A Fox News poll released Thursday found Youngkin ahead by 8 points among likely voters, with 53% to McAuliffe's 45%. Again, I don't want Terry McAuliffe. I don't want any Democrat in any power in this country at all 100% across the board. Why? Because they're goddamn socialists. They're at least Republicans, even though they're rhinos, will sort of buck the trend of Republicans and say, no, we don't want to do this because of X, Y, and Z. At least you got rhinos. And Democrats, there are no dinos, Democrats in name only. They're always socialists in name only. Sinos. They're just socialists. Or communists or authoritarians. I think the whole Democratic Party is a bunch of authoritarian douche fucks. That's just the way they are. And for him, Terry McAuliffe, to hire the Elias law firm to possibly contest the election in Virginia tells you all you need to know what Terry McAuliffe sees and what he sees in his internal polling, that it's not going good for McAuliffe. And if it's not going good for McAuliffe, it's better for Virginia, and it's probably better for my sanity, honestly, because I don't want to talk about Terry fucking McAuliffe anymore.